Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of SPOILERCAST, a Hungry Gamers offshoot that aims to inform, entertain, and hopefully educate you on one particular release from within the geek culture universe. And on this episode, we are entering the fighting pit, going head-to-head with Simon McCoy's bloody feature film debut released in April of 2021. The IMDb synopsis reads as follows. MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. Obviously, we're talking about none other than Mortal Kombat. And joining me in this fight is none other than Earthrealm's resident queen of sass. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, welcome to the tournament. How you doing?
Oh, I am both anxious and excited. It's always fun when it comes to video game interpreted media. So this one's a special one.
Yeah, it's certainly a very low bar that has been set over the many, many years of video game to screen adaptations. But overall, I think they did well for the most part with what we saw realized on screen over the past few weeks since this has been doing the rounds in the cinemas and available on streaming services now through HBO Max, which is awesome. But I guess sort of the way anyone that hasn't listened to a spoilercast, first and foremost, the way we do these episodes is we're going to talk non-spoiler for the first portion of this episode, so you can listen along and not worry about things getting spoiled for you from a massive narrative perspective and big things that might change your perception of this film. And then after that, we're going to jump into full spoilers and just talk willy-nilly about whatever we like, going into some of the meat and potatoes and some of the crazy things we saw and go into big detail about the narrative and big plot points and things like that. So I guess we could start things off maybe with our general thoughts and how we overall perceive and feel this movie is. Like, was it good? Was it bad? What did you take away from it? So maybe, Miss Hart, throw us your non-spoiler shoot from the hip review of Mortal Kombat 2021.
So there was a lot of cheese. There were some bad story plots. There was some not so great acting. But overall, I actually still really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to, the possibility of another movie.
I sort of mirror your statement there. Like, I wrote a sort of a single line recap as well, and I said I really liked it. It was dumb, violent, funny, and enjoyable. Pretty much exactly as I expected it to be. So you bang on regarding the cheese factor. Oh yeah, they really lent into that in parts, and I think they needed to make this movie more enjoyable.
Yeah, like there were times where there were moments of cheese in there where I was kind of like, hey, yeah, I get that. And then there were other times where I was like, so like there was like a balance of both good cheese and bad cheese. Not enough to make it a full stinker, but
yeah, there was a sprinkling of blue cheese in there, but for the most part it was some Jarlsberg and some cheddar.
There's some good camembert in there.
Yep, bit of American, a bit of that sort of generic good burger cheese that everyone likes. Yeah. But I'm with you too on the not so great acting. Like, and it's sad because I think the cast overall they assembled a really good cast to embody these video game characters. Yeah. But then the character that's not from the video game, Cole Young, played by Lewis Tan, who's a great martial artist, maybe not the best actor, was sort of the weakest person on the screen for me more often than not, it felt.
Here's the thing. There's full disclosure, after watching the movie, I did what I always do. I jumped on YouTube, watch interviews, watch funny interviews, watch behind the scenes stuff. And like I usually do this with a lot of things where there's like a lot of lore and then also you can kind of feel like a cast chemistry. And for like, the cast, like a good chunk of the cast, really knows Mortal Kombat and really loves it. And the one person who seems to really like it is Lewis Tan, who plays Cole Young. They got quizzed, I believe, on, it was either IGN or one of the other kind of gaming networks. They got quizzed on characters and he got like almost like full points on getting all the characters, and he knew like secret lore as well. And I'm just like, man, this guy seems so awesome, so genuine. He loves the like franchise, And he just got given a rough deal on this character of Cole Young.
Yeah, they don't really flesh it out too much. Like, obviously, we listed off the IMDb synopses, and it's only a couple of lines. And anyone that's going into this movie thinking it's going to be the Shawshank Redemption or something, as far as
gosh, no.
Massive big character developments and a big gripping story and a huge journey that's an emotional roller coaster, you're going in for the wrong reasons. Like, anyone that's not thinking of this movie as just good dumb fun with some crazy violence and a couple of laughs, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in wanting that and expecting that, I think you're going to be happy.
I'm also going to say, probably if you are a dedicated Mortal Kombat fan, like super dedicated, and you are hoping for a super lore enriched experience, don't go in thinking that they're going to follow all the stories and how everything's kind of written in like the Mortal Kombat games, even though some of that contradicts itself. But yeah, don't go in if you're hoping that it's going to stay absolutely true to what has been written. So
yeah, it takes the guidelines and the history of Mortal Kombat and the tournaments and things like that, and it references them, and it leads. Well, it's leading to that, but it then just goes, you know what? We're going to just go over here and set the scene. And I see this movie almost like a prequel, is the way I sort of think about it more. It's a prequel to the eventual tournaments and the proper Mortal Kombat fandom and respect to the source material that we all love. Like, there's a lot of setting the scene and fleshing out some of these characters. Like, it's clear they want Cole Young to maybe be the new face of at least the big screen stuff. But if we sort of wanted to flip the script, and it's available on YouTube, you can watch it anywhere. That they show the first 10 minutes or 9, whatever.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the opening scene of Mortal Kombat, and it's just about one of the best scenes in the entire movie. It is very special.
To be fair, if there was ever a catfish of movie, like I'm not saying that, like, you know, but this scene, like the start, was art. It was beautiful. It was stunning. It was well choreographed. It was gorgeous. And then it kind of obviously goes off and does something else afterwards. But that intro, I've referenced it before, but Machinima, or someone attached to Machinima, kind of did their own Mortal Kombat web series.
Yeah, which is so great to watch.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, I saw some similarities in there in regards to the two characters that I can hopefully say, which is Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't think that's spoilery. Anyone that's sort of gonna get upset about that, just simmer down. It's the opening. It's the first 10 minutes.
It's literally on YouTube. Go watch it. But like, there's a lot of like similarities kind of to see how both those kind of scenes were set up. And I think it's beautiful. I think it was a great way to introduce these characters, especially also in the timepiece of like their history as well. So it was gorgeous. But yeah.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like this movie, like, Cole Young's the main protagonist, but I think the two leads, or the two big plays in this movie, is Hanzo Hasashi, who's obviously Scorpion, and then Bihan, who's Sub-Zero, and it goes back many centuries to the initial sort of feuding between their two clans, and a lot of shit happens on screen in this 10-minute open, and it is so well choreographed. The fighting is great. It's brutal. Really cool scripting in this too. Like, it's some of the probably most strongest scenes as far as the narrative and the discussion between the two characters.
Yeah,
and it really sets the table for, I guess, future works, most definitely. But it's probably the best 10 minutes, sadly, of the whole movie, in my opinion. Like, it's not like pulling on the rest of the film.
Like, as a whole piece, when it comes to, like you said, like writing, environment, characters, and just everything as a whole, it is the best consistent 10 minutes of the film.
And it's great too, because like Mortal Kombat is, I think, overall, the battle of Sub-Zero and Scorpion and their century-long rivalry. And I like that they went, boom, this is it. This Mortal Kombat right here, straight into it instead of just taking their time and focusing more on Cole, the MMA fighter. They jump straight into the big dogs, and it sets the scene well. I think the cast overall, I think they were well selected. I think they all suited their roles pretty damn good. I think we might be in close agreement that Josh Lawson, Australia's Josh Lawson, who plays Kano, I think he was my favourite. And I know we were umming and ahhing about this before we watched it. You especially, because you're like, he's on Superstore.
And I'm still watching that. But
great show.
But my biggest problem, and when we saw the bit in the trailer where he appeared, it was some cheesy, corny moments, not a lot of context to his character. So we saw my opinion was some bad CG, which was meant to be the laser out of his eye.
Yep.
And then just saw him standing there, and I think he said Kano wins. Like we heard, like these were in the
Kano
trailers.
wins, you fucking beauty.
Exactly. And without the overall context, to me it just felt like so forced. And he himself, no offense, was still a bit on the scrawnier side. So I was really hesitant as him as Kano, and he proved me wrong by miles.
Yeah, he was the star of this movie. He carried this movie, and without him, like we were just talking offline before we hit record, without him, this movie would be far, far, far worse, I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of crummy to say that one character kind of really led the movie into success or to a passable grade, but I'm sorry, when you're such a great actor and you really get yourself into a character and you're this larger than life character in contrast to maybe your counterparts, it's gonna look that way, and it sadly is the way for this movie.
Yeah, his star certainly shone the brightest anytime he was on screen, and it was you could see how much fun he was having with this role. Outside of, God, if you want to go Crocodile Dundee, I can't think of a more iconic portrayal of Australia on a movie, on an American based movie, and it was so good. I went and watched this in the cinema with my mama, and the people in the movies with us, we were all just pissing ourselves laughing in unison anytime he'd come out with one of these Aussie based zingers, and it was so good. God, I cracked up.
I like that they didn't filter his Australiana. I find that with a lot of media, which we have discussed before, when it comes to representing Australians, they kind of dumb it down a bit. They just stick to, shrimp on the barbie kind of jokes just to keep it relatable and simple to other countries. To this is Australian, so this is what you know, and they always stick to that. So I'm kind of glad that they unapologetically let him just go full Australian. Every Australian that watched this was oh, I know that guy.
Oh yeah, some of the things that he gets, he says, and I've heard he sort of did a little bit of freestyling on the script a few times, and it's perfect. There's references to anal beads. He drops the word wanker in there. There's so many Australianisms from bogan slang. I don't want to say them all because it's sort of spoilery, and it's better if you just hear them for the first time when you watch this movie. But just about everything he says in the movie is just gold, and his comedic timing is brilliant. He just nails every line, every word, and yeah, he's Kano.
He is.
We think of old Englishman that played him in the 1995 film. He's like, "Hello, baby, did you miss me?" Still
love
some
it,
great
though.
singers, some great lines.
He had the body. If we can grab his body and they just combined it, perfect. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, but overall, the movie, I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Wasn't without its warts, but good combat. The hand-to-hand martial arts stuff that they put on screen here. Some of the best from a blockbuster you'll see. It's up there with your John Wicks and stuff as far as just super fast, super accurate, really brutal martial arts. And then you combine that with them doubling down on the proper Mortal Kombat R rating where there's blood and viscera and arms getting busted up and shit exploding everywhere, like
not as bad as
stuff
I
that
thought
was
it was
lacking
going
from
to
the
be.
first movie. Yeah, I thought it could have been a bit more, but there
Like it was
some big
there,
moments.
but it just wasn't as you know what? Maybe I would have been a bit kind of like, come on, guys, that was unnecessary if they just went all out. So who knows? Maybe it was just the right amount.
Yeah, so I think there was a good amount of violence. Good table setting for future movies, like spoiler but not a spoiler, but Joe Taslim, who plays Bihan / Sub-Zero, he's said that he's potentially signed up for 4 movies in total. So there's plans for potentially at least having him represented in this movie, which we'll talk about in the spoilers shortly, in 3 more movies, potentially. So I hope we get some more ones, because this is a great first point to jump off into more of the Mortal Kombat lore and just build out on this crazy, violent universe that we got.
Yeah. I'm like, if there's any major takeaway, is that although I did enjoy this film, like it could have been worse. Like it could have really been worse. So it reached a point where I enjoyed it. So I'm happy with that as a pass. If anything that this film did, it kind of got me excited for the future films. I feel like there's a great chance that I could possibly enjoy the future films more than this one.
Which
if that
I
makes
hope
sense.
Is different to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which was the
Yes.
sequel to the first movie, which is an absolute piece of poo. But a couple of quick thoughts of the nation. So Daddy Lemon on the Discord has said this is a couple of reviews that I'll read to sort of, I think, emphasize some of the thoughts and opinions we've had, and maybe throw some new wrinkles that maybe we didn't talk about there. So he says, Mortal Kombat to the extreme R18 movie adaptation includes a fair chunk of blood, guts, and gore to make fans happy. And with a franchise that has 22 games and 2 pretty decent movies from the 90s, first one, yes, second one, no, anyway, there are a lot of people to try and keep happy. Anyway, this new take on Mortal Kombat starts strong, goes floppy in the middle, and finishes weak and droopy. It's a lot of, penis referencing there, I think. But anyway, it is what it is. With only 110 minutes, they spend 80% of the movie trying to set up a backstory and plot, and then realize they need to get the might testing and flawless victories happening, so cram the majority of the fights into the last 20%, jumping between battles in what I think is a cop-out. In brackets, shit, we are running out of time. Let's have Raiden teleport everyone to arenas. More on that stuff later. The movie ends with them trying to set up the sequels rather than giving us something more satisfying. In any case, this fan enjoyed the movie for what it was and would give it a 7 out of 10 biased lemons. Please note that Mortal Kombat must be written in all caps so you can pay homage to the games and original movies and screamed out loud.
So, I didn't read anyone's opinions because I wanted to kind of react to them organically. And I honestly thought this was going to be a bad review. And now it just makes me realize that a lot of people are exactly like me, where I'm kind of like, yeah, this is weird and that was a bit off, but I liked it.
Yeah. I think that's a great little review there from Daddy Lemon. And the next one, Benny McJanet at the Sporty 13, host of 8-Bit's Cocktail Club. I went in with low expectations but was hoping to be proved wrong. The movie is faithful in showing the violence and the blood feud between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but sadly that's about it. The birthmark thing is even stupider than it originally sounded from the preview write-ups. The fights are wonderfully violent and brutal and well choreographed. The dialogue is pretty woeful for most of the film. Cole Young is as terrible as I thought he would be. Actually, the twist on his character is worse than I was expecting. The whole having a birthmark unlocks arcana was so dumb. Give me more Joe Taslim though. Man is fantastic. Also, Ludi Lin was jacked. Honestly, it basically felt like the whole thing was a teenage boy's fanfic given a Hollywood green light. So he didn't give us a rating there or a review score, but it sounds like Benny McJanet would have been giving that certainly a 3 or a 4 out of 10.
Can confirm it's low.
He's one of the most passionate Mortal Kombat fans out there, and he knows the lore more than most of the people I know, and really rubbed Benny the wrong way. Honestly,
I think Benny's quite fair in his review, to be honest. There's a lot of things he's written here which I agree with him. So but I can understand where we kind of sit in the sides of, you know, in the end game whether we liked it or not, but I can appreciate Benny's comments here.
Yeah, I agree. I think, what both Daddy Lemon and Benny McJanet said there are pretty bang on point. And I guess we could sort of throw a couple of other quick nitpicks or gripes that maybe we haven't covered in what we've already spoken about, and then pivot into the spoiler territory. So yeah, overall, like what we've all been talking about there, the plot is a little bit of a mess. It's very quickly thrown together. I already alluded to my thoughts on Cole. He's just a very meh character.
Yeah.
It
almost felt unnecessary. Like they could have
really
literally taken him out and it would have been fine. But yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Miss Hart? Any other gripes you want to highlight before we maybe break off here and then jump into spoiler territory?
Yeah. For the most part, it sounds weird that like it doesn't feel like there was enough characters in it, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there was only a small handful of characters. There was a lot of rough editing in this, where like a lot of scenes were choppy. Unfortunately, due to watching a lot of videos, I also noticed when fight sequences are chopped up a lot to make them look more impressive. So I noticed that a lot, unfortunately. And what would normally you would assume to be great characters were easily forgettable.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, you could see that old Simon McCoy, he certainly held characters back from entering in. Like, we got a couple of ancillary characters that I thought they were made up for this movie, and then realized, like, not really spoiling, you'd see it in the cast billing, but Reiko, who's played by Australia's Nathan Jones, former professional wrestler, part of Mad Max. He actually spent like 8 years in jail. He's known as like the Beast of Boggo Road because he did like 8 armed robberies.
It's that name, the Beast of Boggo Road.
Yeah.
That sounds like a book that you read to kids.
Yeah, that was him. Well, that is him. He went to jail for nearly 10 years for a heap of armed robberies. And then obviously went professional wrestling for a bit. Now he's done a few movies. He's just always the big giant.
There you go, guys. Crime pays.
Yeah. Yep. He was even, I remember in the WWF, or it might have just pivoted to WWE, he was getting brought up to be like the big foil to Undertaker. But then he quit the wrestling because the scheduling was too busy. So he could have been a big wrestling star.
Could have.
But he quit. But yeah, the Beast of Boggo Road, he played Reiko. And then Mel Janssen played Nitara, who is a flying vampire-esque woman. And I thought these were just two random throw-in characters similar to Cole Young. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, no, that's right. They actually exist. So Reiko was first seen in Mortal Kombat 4, and Nitara was shown first in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. But very forgettable characters, as you said. But yeah, they're certainly keeping the vault of all these other characters for these future films. That's for damn sure.
Oh, That you could, after a while, you're kind of like, I know what you guys are doing.
Yeah. But overall, like, I'd recommend, like, if you got some spare time and some spare cash and you want to have some fun, 2 hours in the cinemas watching Mortal Kombat, there's certainly far worse things you can do with, $20 or $30, including some snacks. So I'd say go check it out. Like, I had fun with it. I liked it. You liked it.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's what you need.
Yeah. Like, as long as you can get by, like, a lot of things and the cheese, and then obviously, like I said, if you're deep into lore, you kind of got to take that to the back shelf a bit while watching this. It's enjoyable. Not perfect. Not terrible.
Exactly. And on that note, we're sort of going to break for 5 seconds here, and then we're going to move into spoiler territory. So anyone that hasn't watched this movie and is worried about getting things, in air quotes, spoiled, maybe go watch it and come back and listen to the next half of SpoilerCast here.
See you soon.
Fatality.
All right, so we're going deep now. Everything is on the table. Nothing is off limits. So, Miss Hart, do you want to jump into maybe like favorite and best moments to start with? Like what we enjoyed the most out of this movie?
Okay. So, Kabal is one of my favorite characters in Mortal Kombat. I used to play him a lot. He was great. And then when I saw him in the trailers, only nanoseconds. I'm like, that was Kabal. He looks okay. No, he looks fucking great. He looks amazing in this movie. And to top it off, they gave him a Boston accent for some reason. I don't care. He looked great. He sounded great. He just had this great presence in the film.
It really threw me. Like, I was watching this movie and, like, I know Kabal very well, but I don't remember ever hearing him speak in the game. So when I heard him talking like he's just walked off the set from the town straight onto Mortal Kombat, it was really jarring for me.
Was it a Boston accent? Did I get that wrong? But it was like...
Or was it New York?
Was it
Boston
New York?
or New York? It was sort
One
of
those
somewhere around
areas.
the boroughs.
Either way, it was thick.
Yeah, but you know, he's been around since Mortal Kombat 3. Like, he's been a mainstay in the Mortal Kombat games for many, many years now. And they, like, for one, as you said, like, his look, they nailed it. I thought they executed his look really well. His combat, where he's doing his really fast super whip things with his bloody... I don't even know what you call the weapons he's got.
I feel bad. I've forgotten the name of them. But he, like, it didn't look, like, weird. It looked fine. Like, Ed Boon said he created this character because of his love for the Flash. So this was his way of kind of having his own Flash in his game. So that's... And in the movie, it looked fine. It didn't look kind of cheesy. Didn't look cartoony. It looked good.
Hook swords is what they're known as. Hook swords.
Oh, I thought they had them. Okay.
You could also call them saw blades if you like.
Sure.
I'm just on the Mortal Kombat
Call them old
wiki.
spikies.
Old spikies. But yeah, he
Either way, like as I kind of preface saying, like, if you're really into lore or you're really into Mortal Kombat, like, maybe consider putting stuff on the back shelf. With this, I was so happy. Like, I was really worried that maybe he was going to look really half-assed or he's only going to appear for 5 seconds. Like... But no, I was absolutely pleased with his presence in the movie. They got his story weird. I only know based on the story of the first few games. So unless they changed it in the Mortal Kombat meta. But
yeah, well, they do have the ability to time travel and change the past and stuff. So
they
I
did
guess there is a way
him,
where they're like, you know, maybe they just time traveled and changed a few things here and there.
Yeah, but like either way, I was happy.
But yeah, I liked that. They had that interaction with Kano and Cabal and talking about Black Dragon and stuff because that's where they had their initial run-ins and that's where a lot of their history comes from. So I like that there was some acknowledgement and some referencing to early games and early history.
Yeah, like that, like mentioning the gang is fine. Like the whole thing about him working with Shang Tsung. And therefore working with Shao Kahn, like, because Shao Kahn, I'm pretty certain he sent people to try and kill Cabal, but either like I said, I'm not going to get hung up on the details. I'm just happy he looked good, and he had a really cool presence. More on that later.
Yeah, I think I'm similar with you. Like, overall, I think the representation and, like, the look of all the characters... I think just about every single one of them, their aesthetic is nailed from the game. And, like, even just the details in the costume, you look at Scorpion and even Sub-Zero's costumes, the detail in their chest plates and their masks and their head garbs and stuff, like... You watch the 95 film and it looks like they've just grabbed a black sheet and just, like, wrapped that over and they're like, what have we got the jello here? Yeah,
put a dinner on him. Wrap it around, call it a day. Yeah.
Like, so the people in costuming that were setting up these characters, really great. And, like, everyone embodied their character. I thought, like, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang and Max Huang as Kung Lao, I think they looked really great as their characters. Seeing Kung Lao execute his fatality to old Nitara, the flying vampire woman, who I thought was a made-up character.
Throwaway character.
Yep, you know, she was thrown away in 2 pieces after the end of their
actual fatality.
In air quotes, fight.
An actual fatality too, which was cool. I didn't think it was gory enough. Like, it was, but then a part of me was underwhelmed by it. I don't know why. I might need to see someone about that.
Maybe. And, like, we got a couple of fatalities. Like, we got Jax thunderclapping Reiko's head into a million pieces, which was pretty good. And then you get Jax with his line, thunderclapping. Because before that, like, he's trying to, like, I guess we could say we didn't really reference it in the non-spoilery part, but to get the abilities you see in the games, the story is loosely connected where the fighters in this tournament need to unlock their arcana, so their hidden special abilities. And they do this via training, or with Kano, they just stirred him up enough to get him aggravated till his eye laser just starts fucking popping off. So yeah, there's a whole thing about, like, Rocky training montage and stuff almost where they're trying to unlock their arcanas.
This is where I sit with Benny on the arcana.
Yeah, and it was cheesy, but I liked that they actually went, yeah, there is some mysticism and shit we need to probably try and make sense of here. We can't just say Sonya Blade can now shoot bloody pink rings out of her arms. You know, they got to explain how it gets to that point. I like that.
I reckon when you cross realms, like that's when it happens. Like something kind of triggers like your inner ability, not a fucking mark. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. But then like at the same time, until they're already fighting and got their arcanas, none of like Earth's warriors really have crossed into Outworld. Like they're all just fighting in that temple. They go on a random plane ride and then walk across the desert for 90 days, yeah. It feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's cheesy as hell, that part. But I like at least they went, we need to try and work out a way to, in air quotes, make sense of how you get these abilities. So it's shitty and it's kind of dumb, but at least they've sort of said, this is how it happens.
It's just like there's so many times where I try to make sense about the whole attachment to the mark, and I'm like, okay, so the mark means you're an Earth Realm champion. So that means the bad guys don't have it, right?
No, the bad guys have it as well, I think. Because
there we go. I thought if you had the mark, it meant you were a defender of the Earth Realm, or you have the mark if you've got to be a fighter.
I think you're a fighter in the tournament. So
okay,
good
so
and
that's
bad
your ticket.
Yeah,
that's your ticket.
That's your access pass. That's your lanyard. You know, I'm a fighter. Let me in.
Check this out.
So that's it's interesting. Like if we sort of go down that way and talk about maybe some nitpicks and gripes, they certainly don't explain the narrative or the basis of this tournament anywhere near enough. Like Shang Tsung's won 9 in a row. If he wins the 10th, they can take over Earthrealm and chaos will ensue. But there's this prophecy about the descendant of Scorpion's going to come back and fuck shit up for all the bad guys and make things a bad time. So Shang Tsung has just somehow went, the old gods who man this tournament, they're lazy. They don't care enough. So we're just going to kill all the good combatants before the tournament can even start. Which, you know, it's like, okay, whatever. It's moving the plot forward, but it's dumb. Like, you know, Raiden's the only one that cares. Apparently, all the other old gods are just off being fat and eating grapes or something.
Yeah, we're in the weeds right now because when I said like classic characters are forgettable, Raiden was one of them. Raiden is, in my personal opinion, a very iconic character when it comes to Mortal Kombat. And to me, he just seemed like a really whiny, bitchy, just annoying character. And he, like, the overall thing is like, we have failed the like past tournaments. Earth is in trouble. You guys need to take this fucking seriously. I'm sorry, mate, but that sounds like it's a you problem. You have overlooked these people each time and you fucked up 9 times. What's wrong with you? What are you doing wrong?
And like, he doesn't train them at all. Like, even in the training montages, it's like Jackson, Sonya, and like, Cole, they're fighting with Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Raiden's just off hanging out over there making lightning.
Like, I think technically he says, like, he can't interfere. And I guess he doesn't train them. I guess he just looks like he's just protecting the Earth realm. So that's his responsibility. But he does get involved in the end, like, as we find out. He goes, I can get involved if I want. But, like he picks and chooses, but he's still whiny because no one's taking it seriously and they're not ready and they haven't unlocked their arcana. And I don't know, it just didn't really seem like such a prominent, cool, powerful character was given the right kind of attention in this movie.
I do, like, if we throw it back to the first 2 movies, like, yes, Christopher Lambert as the original Raiden was piss funny, but he's a white European dude playing a Asian god, which is, you know, a whole nother story for another day. And then having, I can't remember the actor's name, but Dexter's dad, you know, from the show Dexter, playing Raiden in the second movie is also, you know, a whiter dude with an even more white accent playing Raiden. And
we had the opportunity.
So like the portrayal of Raiden was good. Tadanobu Asano played him, and he played him very straight. Like, he's very straight-laced, very I'm a straight down the line god. You know, he's very dry. But yeah, the fact that for 9 previous tournaments he couldn't interfere, and I'm guessing 9 previous tournaments Shang Tsung's probably just getting in there early and fucking everybody up before the tournaments can start. Like, but then on this turnaround, he's like, all right, I've had enough, and yeah, then he's starting teleporting people around to make the Earth fighters work.
He interfered from the very start, because the whole thing, like, that we kind of, I think we've agreed is that Shang Tsung purposefully started killing Earth's defenders because of the prophecy of Hanzo's blood spilling and him coming back. The true champions were going to defeat them. Like, that was the prophecy.
Yeah.
But then technically Raiden interfered at the very first possible moment where he clearly we're assuming he went back in time, grabbed the child bloodline of Hanzo, and then protected it so that it could fulfill the prophecy eventually.
Yeah. Like, so I guess he was the original meddler. So
yeah, so he was meddling from the start, and he just kept fucking. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I don't know.
So expanding on that, so that in that first 10 minutes where you see Hanzo and Bi-Han have this fight, spoilers, it ends with Hanzo and his clan getting defeated. Well, Hanzo and his family, I should say, getting defeated by Bi-Han's clan. He kills his whole family, but they miss the young baby that Hanzo had, and they had the baby tucked away in some kind of box. They didn't kill the baby, but they killed his wife and his other young child, and then killed Hanzo. So yeah, Raiden teleports in, takes the baby, because this baby is the key. It holds the blood of Hanzo Hasashi, and it's going to turn around and activate this prophecy and end the turmoil from Outworld and all the bad people. So it's something that doesn't really get explained outside of that scene. And then at the very end of the movie, we're getting a fight with Cole and Sub-Zero, and he Raiden gave Cole Hanzo Hasashi's kunai, and he had it in his in the back of his pants, and he pulled this thing out, and because his hand bled on the kunai, it activates and Scorpion comes back, and then you have the iconic Scorpion versus Sub-Zero mythical fight, and there's ice getting thrown everywhere and bloody kunai spears and fire.
While Cole punches ice in the background.
Yeah, because Cole's like, it's gone full circle where Hanzo's family, he finds them and they're frozen, and sadly they'd passed by then, but Cole's wife and daughter are frozen in the MMA ring. I love that it's gone full circle to his opening fight. To his opening fight, where the fighter that he actually lost his belt to in the championship was named like Eddie Tobias, which is wordplay on the 2 creators of Mortal Kombat. So one of the many Easter eggs in this movie. But yeah, it's gone full circle back to the MMA. Cole's got abilities now where his ability is like armor with some tonfa sticks.
Oh god, that looked so bad.
It's pretty rough. But it's the whole thing. Cole is very meh.
I feel bad. Like why did they do this to this actor? Because there was so many parts to this where like it just didn't feel necessary. Like, and his armor, his suit that you mentioned, was it his skin or was it armor? Because there was a lot of times you could tell that it was clearly this like plastic thing that he wore because of the way it moved with his body, and it just looked weird. Like it looked really like fake, I guess is the way to say it.
I think when he activates his arcana, this like plating comes over himself as protection. But then it's like, couldn't they just stab you or shoot in the head or in the leg? Like it's just his arms and his chest and his back. Then he gets these tonfa sticks, and that sort of leads into one of my gripes with that is like his arcana pops off when his family is in danger because Shang Tsung sends Goro or Prince Goro through the tunnel, through the portal to Earthrealm, and he's going to kill Cole's family. Cole's inner love of his family activates the arcana, gets his armor. Him and Goro have a fight. Goro gets killed off. Goro gets like 10 minutes total screen time in this movie. He's a big character.
It was pretty short. And like the fight was also mixed in with other fights too. So it wasn't even like well, was it other fighting? Yeah, like other fights were happening, right? Like other people were dealing. Yeah, so it like didn't even have your full attention, really. So yeah, like this is where we talk about like really prominent characters, kind of, you know, like really getting the short straw on this. Like my other nitpick that I really wanted to point out. I love Cabal. They clearly killed him. He is not coming back.
Yeah, he gone.
He
gone.
He is 100% gone.
Yeah, so they killed off a lot of big characters. Like Melina, played by Sissy Stringer. She's one of the bigger, like she's sort of the 1B. Like you'd say there's like a 1A roster of sort of the big characters. But Melina, I think she's always been right up there. Like the fabled story with her and her sister Katana and Shao Kahn raising them and all this type of stuff. None of that really gets fleshed out. She's just almost like shown in this movie, just the muscle, you know, just one of the henchmen. And she doesn't really say anything, doesn't really do much. The biggest thing she does, where you see like the mouth rip back and become more, you know, demonic monstery Melina. And then she ends up getting old Sonya Blade's bloody rings through her guts, like just blows a hole in her when she gets her arcana.
Which was in the trailer, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of in the trailer, we saw that Reptile gets killed. So we knew that Reptile was in the movie and that he gets killed. We saw that in the trailer.
Yep.
Reptile's a pretty decent character.
First fatality, old Reptile. Like I know that there's like the reptilian race that Reptile's part of, so there could be future iterations of him coming in, or it coming into Mortal Kombat 2, 3, 4, if these movies do come to fruition. But yeah, it was interesting. Like other gripes, like Goro, like the throw-in characters like Reiko and Nitara, but I get that they didn't want to probably blow their load and have all the big names in at once. And the other thing that it's not really a gripe that breaks the movie for me, but I love that Hanzo Hasashi spends centuries and centuries and centuries in hell, and obviously he learns to control the hellfire, and he becomes, you know, the demon vengeance that is Scorpion and everything else. But he comes out of this portal, and somehow he's learnt English, and the only 3 words he's learned is "get over here." You know, he's still speaking Japanese outside of that, but he says, "Get over here." It's iconic, I know. Like they do some fan service. You get a fatality, you get a flawless victory, you get a get over here. You get the 3 main. I wish there was a toasty in there somehow, but you get 3 of the main lines you hear. And that was like, I'm like, really? Like I know it's fan servicey, but you're trying to be serious with this part right now. And yeah, like they're still speaking in Asian dialect outside of that. But yeah, he drops the English "get over here" just as a fan service bro moment.
Like at the end when like Scorpion and Sub-Zero are fighting each other. Scorpion, Hanzo is saying something to Cole, but he's saying it in Japanese. So Cole's just like standing there, and I think he's telling Cole like, "You go to your family, I will deal with this," or whatever. And Cole's like looking at him, but he does it like, so it's like. I mean, come on, like he doesn't understand what he's saying. So there's like, but although I do appreciate that, that they don't kind of just say, "Oh, now everyone understands each other's language." But like,
maybe like my only thought with that too, I was thinking about that the other day, is maybe because you know how he was having these flashbacks to Scorpion in hell, maybe they've got like some neural subconscious link. So he's like, "Go save your family, I've got this under control." That's like, okay, go punch that ice.
Also another cringy moment was Shang Tsung talking to Sub-Zero, and he's talking about I think he was talking about the prophecy and saying how let's just destroy the Earth Champions, but he calls him Bihan, and then he goes, "I am no longer Bihan, I am Sub-Zero." And it was like, I had a lot of questions with that. I'm like, did you just decide at this moment? Because you've clearly been his fighter for a while. Like,
for centuries.
Are you like one of those people who are like, I don't go by that name anymore, I go by this name now? Like, and my husband said, he goes, could you imagine like the HR email going out saying like, please do not call Bihan. He goes by Sub-Zero now. Like,
yeah, it's. Yeah, like you feel for him. He's been doing it for centuries. He's like, Bihan Cody. He's like, it's Sub-Zero,
Sub-Zero.
Shang Tsung.
Jeez, Dad.
That's my nickname.
I'm a cool guy now, literally. But like that was just a funny moment. There's a lot of times where kind of people had to drop their names and it felt a little bit forced. There's a moment where Jax quickly introduces himself to J. Cole and his daughter. Then J. Cole and his family get ice cream.
That's the rapper, by the way, J. Cole. Cole Young, you're thinking
Cole
of.
Young, sorry, my bad.
I'm like, what version are you watching? I'm like, I watched one with J. Cole in it.
Sorry,
It's great.
Cole. My bad. Cole Young, sorry. And he and his family, so that he meets Jax with his daughter. Him and his family get ice cream. Snow appears from Sub-Zero. And then Jax gets him and his family in the car. Then Jax tells them to go off. And like this is all happening really, really quickly. So Cole goes back with his family to that farm and everything. And then it goes from telling his wife that the daughter's sleeping, and he goes, Jax said that da 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 da. And I could just imagine his wife going, who the fuck is Jax?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of moments where name dropping felt very forced. Like they felt like moments, you know?
Yeah. Like I get Cole's down on his dumps and he's taking a couple $100 here just to keep the roof over his wife and daughter's head at the moment. But his wife and daughter were so casual about everything going on. Like, you know, they're on the run, hiding out at this farmhouse, trying to avoid demons, and you know, they just saw a dude that can control ice and cold weather and stuff and kill people, and they're just having a nice meal. Goro rolls in. They're so casual about it. She, you know, hits Goro with the axe. You know,
props to a strong wife. Props to a strong wife.
Yeah. I can't remember the line she said. Yeah, where she was like, you know, you got to do it myself or whatever she said. She gets in there, swinging an axe at a guy like a big giant Hulk-esque character with 4 arms. And, you know, like, yeah, the wife and daughter are just so casual about all this the entire time. Like it's cool. Like, it'd be nice to have a family that'd be that casual when there's potential, you know, apocalypse impending.
Also didn't feel the love as a family, by the way.
Yeah.
Didn't feel it. Like, obviously, there's a lot going on. They're trying to fit a lot in this movie. So, obviously, but they did focus some time with Cole and his family, but I just didn't feel it. It didn't feel like a family. I thought
at first, when they first introduced the family, like, his daughter is Cole's corner woman.
Didn't know
she's
it was
there
his daughter for a long time.
Advising and training.
Didn't know.
I picked up on the daughter thing, but I thought him and Cole were divorced, because then the wifey comes in and she's like, I don't go to the fights anymore or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I thought there's a break here and they're co-parenting.
Also, were they in Australia or were they in America?
So it's, shot in Australia for the most part. Was shot down in Adelaide, but yeah, in America. They're meant to be in America.
That fight, what are they called? The guys that curate fights, the guys that put them together. He did not try and hide his Australian accent at all.
No. He's a great actor.
Great actor, but yeah, I'm like,
oat milk ads.
Oh, they're in Australia. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They did shoot a ton of this movie. Like, one thing I do like, yes, the CGI was a bit ho-hum at times, but I like that they shot a lot of this actually out in the real environment. Like, all the Outworld stuff was shot in an old abandoned open-cut mine in South Australia, and it looks really cool. Like, there's some awesome big sprawling wide shots where they're walking around this barren landscape, and I think it looks really great.
Oh, like the Outer Realms? Like,
yeah, in Outworld, yeah.
Yeah, they look, I was really impressed, honestly. Like, it both looked impressive and depressing, which it should. At the same time, like, and there was also this moment where they're walking through there and they're discussing, like, oh, we got to go out there and kill them because of the prophecy and everything. And Shang Tsung's actually got a dirty face, like, he's covered in dirt and everything because the place is shit. So
Outworld does not look like a good appealing place. I get why they want to take over Earthrealm, because Outworld looks very depressing. But that's another gripe for me is Shang Tsung is a nothing character in this movie. Like, obviously, he's the big bad in the first film. And Cary Hiroku Tagawa, I think is how you pronounce his name, played it to perfection. But this iteration, he's just a nothing plot point.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're going to move him into future movies if they do make their way to the screen. But for the big bad, he was anything but.
Yeah, he didn't like his presence didn't feel intimidating, only in the sense of like a bully.
Yeah.
Although we did get a great scene of him taking the soul of Kung Lao and old Cabal saying, your brother's about to get his soul sucked. Or something like that. Like, it was some weird line. It was like really broke the mood. or the seriousness.
I'm just skimming down to try and find that line here if it's in the IMDb quotes. But yeah, I think you nailed it. Yeah, he's like, yeah, your brother's about to get his soul sucked. It was just like
what?
So ridiculous.
But I agree. Like, for how, like, obviously he isn't the big bad, but he's kind of got a some kind of evil presence about him, and he has a reputation about him, but it wasn't there for you. Like I said, he just found it like he felt like a bit of a bully, like an annoying bully. To be honest, Sub-Zero seems like he's more incredible than him, to be honest. But
yeah, well, like in spoiler territory, like like with having Joe Taslim signed on for 3 future movies, and this current iteration of Sub-Zero now dead. Obviously, in the game history, that Gen 1 Sub-Zero, you could call him, ends up becoming Noob Saibot. So there's a strong strong potential there that they're gonna pivot and bring in Noob Saibot as the next version, and then have the younger brother of Sub-Zero maybe take over the Sub-Zero mantle as well.
Yeah.
But then we might see Quan Chi as well. So because Quan Chi brings old Sub-Zero back to life and turns him into Noob Saibot. So we might see Quan Chi in the second one. I think that's a good sort of jump off point into who would you like to see appear in these potential sequels? Who's some characters on your wish list that you want to see there?
For no other apparent reason, just because I loved the uniqueness of his character, Striker.
I cracked up when I saw this in the show notes. Like,
why
not the American policeman with the backwards hat on? Yeah, we could work in, like, there's always references to the armed forces and stuff in there.
That's true. But
yeah, so maybe Striker
just
instead
always
of him being a policeman, they repurposed him. He was part of their unit as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's what they'll do. Oh, now I don't care.
Yeah. And I know you referenced another one of your favies there too.
Yeah. So I actually wrote here in a question, do I want Sindel in there? Sindel, it was my main character, the one that I played, and I adore her and I love her and everything about her story and everything. But then I kind of sat there and I said, do I want them to attempt my character? Like, they did well with Cabal and I was happy, but then I'm like, man, Sindel means a lot and they could fuck that up on me, so maybe I don't want her. So
yeah, it's risky.
It's so risky.
It's very risky. So I think that'd be great. Like, I'm assuming we might see Noob and Quan Chi. We got an Easter egg with Shinnok where we have Kano when they're in the training area before he does his eventual heel turn. He steals a necklace, and it's actually Shinnok's necklace, but then they wise up to it and tell him to put it back. So I like that there's some references of characters like that. I wouldn't mind seeing one of the old cyborg ninjas. Give me some Cyrax or Sector.
Yeah.
Big fans of those two. Outside of that, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming we're going to get Princess Katana. We might get Shao Kahn.
Will we? Will we get Katana? Because there's a moment between Melina and Liu Kang where they're all standing in front of each other, kind of like insinuating that each person's got dirt. So, Cabal was standing in front of Kano and blah, blah, blah. But like Melina was standing in front of, I've completely forgotten his name. Brain fart. Absolute brain fart. Liu Kang. I said it like 5 seconds ago. Anyway, so Melina is standing in front of Liu Kang, and like they're kind of like giving each other evil eye, and then they kind of pan over to Katana's fan. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Suggesting that that's like kind of already happened. Like there's like been a death, and they've already got bad blood. But then I guess that moment passes so quickly that it doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
I guess it opens it up to go one way or the other. They could say, yep, they killed her off, or no, that was just a little nod for future.
Yeah, true.
But I guess the big certainty of who's going to be appearing in the sequel, the movie ends with Cole heading over to Hollywood to I guess recruit the next one of Earthrealm's team, and that is none other than Johnny Cage. We get the movie poster referenced on the wall there, which is funny because it's a movie poster for a film that Johnny Cage is in, but he's wearing the Johnny Cage belt. So is he sort of playing himself in the movie? I don't know. Like, you wouldn't wear a belt with your real name on it if you're playing as someone else, right? But,
oh, yeah, I guess that's true, actually.
yeah, but there's been a bit of discourse on the internet since this obviously was shown at the end of the film about who we think should play Johnny Cage. So everyone's resident action comedy savant has thrown his hat in the ring, I guess, through some of his social posts, and that's Ryan Reynolds. But I think you and I are in a bit of unison here with old Mike Bazan, aka The Miz from the WWE, playing Johnny Cage.
He's been playing Johnny Cage all his life. So I don't see why not. It seems pretty damn good. Ryan Reynolds is way above bank, I feel, for the Mortal Kombat franchise. I don't think they're going to have the money to kind of get Ryan Reynolds. I don't want Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. I don't. He's a great actor, but I just don't want him as Johnny Cage. I don't see it. But yeah, I just, when people said The Miz, I believe someone's done a mock-up of.
Yeah, I think Boss Logic tossed one out there.
So
he was quick on the draw.
Yeah, so I like he's obviously, like, he's got the wrestling background, so he's athletic. He'll be able to do the moves. He'll know how to do the training. Like, he's very familiar with that. Granted, he's a father now of, is it 2 daughters, 1 daughter?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think it's just right. If you're playing it all your life, so get the role.
I would not be upset with that cast. And he's not a bad actor. Like, I've watched him in a couple of movies that he's, I guess, in air quotes, starred in. And he's not a bad actor. Like, he'll certainly add to that role. And then for future, they can, I don't know if they're going to double down and go down the path where Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade end up, becoming a thing and having Cassie Cage, their daughter.
I don't really like Cassie Cage.
She's in the new game. She's who I mean.
I know, because we went to an event where we played Mortal Kombat and you kicked my ass 3 times in a row in front of a crowd of people as Cassie Cage. Hashtag never forget.
Yeah, no, she's pretty great. But and I get why they didn't put Johnny Cage in this movie, because Kano is the Johnny Cage of this movie.
Kano is also, you can tell he's a character placement of being the audience where, all this random weird shit is going on and Kano's the person to be there going, what the fuck is going on? What is all this weird shit? So
yeah,
I just, I really hope that they bring Kano back. I think they might, based on the reception he got on this movie alone. The implication is his daddy died. He got his eye stabbed, and therefore the marker transferred over to Sonya, and all of a sudden she knows how to use her plasma cannons like that.
That's all it took. Female empowerment, what activated her arcana, and then she's popping them rings.
I really hate how she kind of got tagged along through the whole thing, and it's like deep down she knew she deserved the powers. I don't know. That was something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Yes, but Kano lost his little emblem, but like, I've got a feeling that they could bring him back because his eye thing was there. It wasn't a metal plate like we're used to, and he also didn't have his chest thing, right? Like, he also sometimes has a chest piece. So I've got a feeling
maybe Shinnok. Maybe Quan Chi could bring him and Sub back.
That's what
in different iterations.
That's what I think. And I mean, we're very evident that the technology mechanical thing is very present in the universe of Arcana. Apparently, magic metal is a thing. Reference to Jax and his arms. That I also don't get, but so I reckon that they could bring Kano back again.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Because he was great. like as we said at the start of this potty, he carried this movie. Like if they didn't have him in this as a comedic foil for these straight-laced characters that he's dealing with, the movie would not land anywhere near as good for me. Like, we both really enjoyed it, and like if we're sort of jumping into sort of a score and then maybe talking about if we prefer this to the original, like I think we both agreed. Like I had 7/10 of a flawless victory as what I score it, which is translates to a 7 out of 10 for me. But if there was no Josh Lawson or no Kano, might be like a 5, maybe less.
Yeah, well, I wrote 7 just. Like, it scraped by to a 7. Yeah, and if we had no Kano, 5 would... 5 would probably be a little bit fair, yeah.
Yeah, he carried this movie, and every scene he was in, he was stealing it. Like, literally, like, stealing Shinnok's necklace and metaphorically stealing the scenes with the zingers. The foot massage reference. There was a part in there where I think when they first introduced Cole to Kano, and he's like, and Sonya Blade's like, this is Kano, and then Cole's like, Kano what? And he's like, Kano, none of your fucking business. like just perfect delivery, and I was all for it. So yeah, shout out to Josh Lawson. He's my MVP of this movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Like, I really hate suggesting that he did carry it, but like even with prominent characters like Kung Lao still felt a little lackluster to me. Sonya Blade felt a little lackluster to me. I liked Jax's character, but he had too much of a mopey moment for him. Like for me personally, how I know Jax. So, and like I said about Raiden. So yeah, like when you have someone like Kano who's front center and just like right there in your face and just really holding scenes together. Yeah, unfortunately that's why that's the general consensus between most viewers on why. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, a quick shout out to Mopey Jax when like he gets his arms frozen off and obliterated by Sub-Zero, and then these these monk technology savants make him primitive robot arms, but they're made out of like metallic spaghetti, and he's got these little metal arms on his big jacked body, and it was fucking, oh my god, I was pissing myself laughing with these little arms.
Yeah, that's it. It was like little tiny arms and like little grabbies. It looked like the Meccano sets that you get as a kid.
I guess that you can see they're pretty short on technology in this temple, but like
it didn't
he gets
matter.
these little
Jax's arcana was metal magic.
Little Meccano T-Rex arms he's got, and he's just moping around, and he gets his big boy arms, and then thunderclaps Reiko's head into oblivion. So but overall the movie's good. It's not perfect, but it's fun, and that's what you need sometimes.
Yeah, it's a movie of hope, right? Like it's not necessarily going to like wow you and like say like cool gaming franchises into movies has been saved. No. But it definitely sets us up for the possibility of a follow-up being even better. I don't know if it is the case. I'm assuming that COVID might have fucked up a lot of things for getting this movie maybe a bit more polished. And I'm going to assume that. So, hopefully in a better time in the future, we're going to get something even better. And that's how I view this.
I do too. Like, I firmly just... in my head, this is a prequel. We're getting the mainline films for future. This was a test bed to see if there's an appetite for this again. Yeah, clearly there is, because I think they've made their money back on this movie already.
I think they did. Yeah, they got like pretty good box office but box office results.
Yeah, so which is great, and for a first time Aussie director, I should say. Sorry. Executing the way he did, like respectful to the source material, a lot of homage to characters and histories and plot threads from the games. I think he did pretty well. So I'd happily see old Simon McCoy come back for future movies and get more of this. But I guess the big question, Miss Hart, do you prefer this or the original film from the 90s? Because that's a big question. And I know you got a lot of love for the original.
The love is still there. If someone asked me, do you want to watch the OG or the 2021 version? I'd say let's load up that OG. Let's oh yeah, let's get
That's
into it.
impressive. Like maybe I'm suffering from recency bias, but I preferred this one overall. The first one's great in that it's just bad, but it's good, and it's funny, and it's bad,
Yes.
but it's good.
Yes. It's bad, but it's good, but it's funny, and it's bad, but it's good.
Yeah.
We also got actually, did we? We got a good chunk of characters. Not great acting for the most part, but there's a lot of lines in there that are very memorable for me. So, yeah, I would prefer to watch the OG one.
Yeah, the OG's got a lot more zingers that are just memorable now. But I think when we reflect on this movie in a few years' time, we're going to be throwing out some of the Kano zingers, especially. Like he had line after line that was just bam, 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 and there was some absolute crackers in there. So, yeah, I'm siding with the recency bias here and saying I'd prefer, if I had to watch either of them again right now, I'd watch the latest one because I just know how bad some of the stuff from that first movie was, like the Goro prosthetics. My god,
I loved it. I loved it. You could see the string. It was so great. And then Raiden watching the fight, and he punches the guy next to him because
yeah, because he's enjoying it so much.
Goofy Raiden is my favorite.
Oh, Christopher Lambert had a great time.
Fun Times Raiden is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a great time, Christopher Lambert, and he's you know,
there can only be one.
There can only be one. Yep, I like that. But yeah, overall the sort of temperature check from the socials, from the Instagram poll, sort of landed in the middle.
It did, actually. Surprisingly, it landed on the middle, probably a little bit closer to the positive side. Overall, though, like, we had a few people who were definitely on the no, like absolutely no, it wasn't a good movie, and then we had some people that were on the very high, but then I think that it's synced up in between in the middle where a lot of people were just like, yeah, it was a good movie, I was okay, it was all right. Not a lot of people saying it was amazing, not a lot of people saying it was horrible. We're just all happy, comfortable, sitting in the middle.
I'd confidently say right now that it is one of the better video game to movie adaptations I've ever seen. Like, I know it's not a high bar. Like, there's a lot of shit that's been made, but it is one of the better ones to come out that I can remember.
I've yet to see Sonic.
It's fine too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy. I was pleasantly surprised by Sonic, but yeah, this movie, it didn't break my heart. Reptile's heart got obviously broken, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I was happy with it. I'd gladly go watch it again at the cinemas and pay some money to get another ticket and check it out. Like, it's great. Repeat watch, definitely.
I wonder if I would have enjoyed it more if I had the ability to see it at the cinemas.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, just the uniform, like the unanimous laughter with some of those scenes was great. It was really good. Added to it.
To be fair, like, me and my husband sitting on the couch watching it, we got to go like full Mystery Science Theater 3000 and take jabs and jokes and stuff like that throughout the movie. So either or.
Yeah. See, that would have been a good way to have it too. But yeah, I couldn't do that in the movies because you get shushed and you get yelled at by angry patrons. But yeah. This brings us to the end of another spoiler cast. Thank you, 8-Bit Nation, for taking the time to listen to our thoughts and our rants on 2021's Mortal Kombat film. I think the overall impressions here is that it's a good movie. We're giving it some 7s across the board. That is a phenomenal score. I'm very surprised, like, even outside of all the warts and the negativity, and like those earlier reviews, like, Daddy Lemon and Benny McJanet. Well, Benny's is pretty much just purely negative, but valid points. But I think everyone's like, it's not perfect, but it's pretty fucking fun.
Yeah.
And, here's a 7.
Yeah, exactly. Don't expect a masterpiece. Enjoy yourself and leave your lore at the door.
Ooh. And on that note, I think we're going to close this down until we enter the spoiler cast arena for another time. We don't know what that's going to be, but we'll find something to talk about.
We always do.
Juicy, deep detail. Find us all as a collective at We Are 8-Bit on them socials. Find Miss Ellie Hart at Miss Ellie Hart and find myself at Brendan 8-Bit. But until next time, 8-Bit Nation, much love.
And stay flawless.
You're on fire today.